Let me ask the Prime Minister, in exercising his role to appoint ministers, whether in January 2017, when he appointed the present Minister of Financial Services and Good Governance especially, whether he was aware that this same person already had a case, a police case of embezzlement for a very large sum of money, and that was an ongoing case. Was he aware at that time that this case existed? And if so, would you like to explain to the House how he came about to appoint this person?
Madam Speaker, as I have just stated, a case which is ongoing, which is subject to inquiry, is not a conviction. There are allegations. Allegations have to be proved. First of all, the inquiry must go on, and until and unless the DPP decides that a prosecution should go against the party, and then of course, there is also the court of law. So I can't substitute myself to a court of law or to the investigating authority to already pronounce a judgment.
Madam Speaker, this case by Mr. Kriti Takudas, who's a chartered accountant, was made at the police in March 2015, 3 years ago. Does he not find it weird, incredibly weird, that 3 years after, this case is still pending and no conclusion has been made, no arrest has been made with regard to the case of embezzlement against a Minister of Good Governance, of all people?
Madam Speaker, I'm informed by the police that the inquiry is ongoing. So I can't go into the case itself and look at the evidence and what is being done in terms of further inquiry that is being carried out by the police. So I cannot give any information with regard to the contents of that case.
I am sure everybody believes you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'd like to ask the Honourable Minister, 2 months after being appointed Minister of Good Governance and Financial Services, the Minister appointed the same Mr. Takudas through the FSC as special investigator on numerous hotels. Can I ask whether, as is the practice, the Minister of Good Governance cleared this appointment with you before the appointment was made?
Well, the FSC, I believe that the FSC has decided to retain the services of Mr. Takudas, so I don't see any problem that I should have interfered with that appointment.
Does not the Honourable Minister find it unacceptable that one Mr. Takudas is appointed 2 months after, as if it's a big surprise, hazard, comme on dit, 2 months after the Minister of Good Governance is appointed, for a fact check? Does it not find it, therefore, a case of abusing his ministerial power in order to sort out his personal affairs and the litigation with this Mr. Takudas?
Well, yes, if there is any, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition has any information of any wrongdoing, I hope he makes a declaration to the competent authorities so that there can be an inquiry.
Are we saying that we are incompetent in this House? This is the competent authority. You appoint him. You are the competent authority. Madam Speaker, I'd like to raise now the case of police case which has gone now more than 1 year. The case of this poor lady, Mrs. P. Sidayan, who has received indecent messages and has made a case of sexual harassment and indecent messages at the police since July 2017. Again, no action by the police, no prosecution by the police. Although in other cases, people like Romali, etc., Samad Ghani, Ramchand have been arrested overnight for cases to do with ICTA. This one, nothing for the last year concerning Mr. Sesungkur.
Madam Speaker, of course, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition is saying that we're not competent here. But I believe that I am competent, but competent enough not to confuse the role of a Prime Minister and the role of investigative authorities. Yes. act as if I am myself the investigation party and also the judge, to decide. Then where are we going? If that is the meaning of competence of the Honorable Leader of the Opposition. Now he is alleging now that there is a case which has been reported to the police and that nothing is happening. The case of, he mentioned the name, I don't want to repeat the name. But I am informed by the police that they have already moved in terms of a judge's order and that there is a reply that is being awaited from a telecommunications company. So the case is ongoing.
Does the Prime Minister know that only yesterday the police informed Mrs. Sidayan that the records at MTML, the telephone company, somehow have been lost and destroyed and that they're no longer being found, that only yesterday? Doesn't he find it odd that after a year has gone by, suddenly the police go for the record and it has been destroyed, no longer available? Is he aware of that?
I am not aware that yesterday the police has, I'll check with the police what has happened. Yeah.
It's very, very odd. Madam Speaker, another case of abusing of office. Is he aware that the husband of Mrs. Sidayan, one Mr. Jitan Sidayan, was a few days after this fight got on, offered appointment on the Insurance Industry Compensation Management Company. This Mr. Sidayan is a boulanger. Nothing wrong with boulanger. But on the Insurance Management Committee, this is where he is appointed. And that this person, Mr. Sidayan, obviously, without applying, he got this job. This is fantastic. He went to ICAC a few days later and denounced Mr. Sesungkur, the Minister Sesungkur. And again, you say, wait for the inquiry. How long is the patience of this nation? Again, 1 year by. Nothing from ICAC.
Madam Speaker, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition say, wait for the inquiry. How long? Well, I am not the investigating body. Again, if there is a complaint, whether it is before the CCID or before ICAC, I am sure they are investigating, and ultimately there will be a finding. In the light of their conclusion, then action will be taken. But I can't, of course, ask ICAC. You are mentioning about ICAC. Do I go and interfere with ICAC and tell ICAC that this is how you are going to do your work? We'll see.
It is an obvious case of interference in ICAC, obvious case of interference in ICAC and the police. Obvious, Madam Speaker. This time, Madam Speaker, I will raise this issue. A superintendent of police this time, the police itself, records a precautionary measure against the same Minister Sesungkur in March of this year. Things get worse and worse with Minister Sesungkur. In March of this year, precautionary measure, interference in a police inquiry in relation to an accident of the sun. Are you now aware that in March 2018, a superintendent of police made that record in Rosehill Police Station?
According to the information that have been provided, I don't see any case with regard to what the Honourable Leader of the Opposition is alleging. That there has been a declaration against him for interfering with the... well, I don't have it. Maybe you can provide me with the information then. Sure.
For the police, they are behind you to provide you with the information. I don't work for you. Now let me tell you, Madam Speaker. Let me tell Madam Speaker, now we come, as I say, things get worse and worse. Only 10 days ago, this Minister Sesungkur made an unprovoked assault on a photographer. Unprovoked assault, slapping him in front of witnesses. I don't know, he's not here now. I don't know whether he is at the moment at the caserne with the what is that, parade d'identification, which is going on at the moment. This is the situation that in appointing this minister, we put us into. The minister is not there, probably at the caserne with the parade d'identification. What has happened now with this case 10 days ago? Are we going now to wait another two years for something to happen or not?
Madam Speaker, there is an allegation. There has been a declaration against the minister. So then I do act on the allegation. There has been allegation against me. We all know from this drug baron. So then, we believe the allegation. Let the inquiry. I am informed, Madam Speaker, that the statement of the declarant is not yet completed, because the declarant started to give a statement and then he decided, I don't know for whatever reason, he decided to stop and to go probably do something else, and then I believe he will be coming back. So his statement is not yet completed, and the leader of the opposition wants me to take action on a matter where not only a statement is not completed, inquiry is not completed, but DPP even has not been able to obtain the file for any decision. How can I do that? Then we can have, in that case, we can have allegations against everybody, and then there will be no government one day. We all have to step down. Stop.
Order. Please, Honorable Jagru.
Madam Speaker, I'm quite shocked at the nonchalant way in which the Prime Minister treats an assault by a minister of his government, which he has appointed, on a photographer. And I'd like to ask, in fact, the Honourable Prime Minister whether he is aware that one of the reasons of the reticence is there have been threats made by men close to the Minister of Good Governance, threats made against the declarant and also people who were to appear as witnesses in this case.
Madam Speaker, if the Honourable Leader of the Opposition is alleging that there have been threats made, if threats have been made, make a declaration that that person who has been threatened, make a declaration to the police. How is it that supposedly when one person was slapped, he was able to go to the police and give a declaration? How is it now when there are threats that are being made, he's not able to go and give a declaration? And you're talking about nonchalance. I think you have to look amongst your ranks when you talk about nonchalance. Just behind you, there is Honourable Thierry Henry. Huh? He was PPS. He was PPS. Let me answer. Let me answer. What's happening to you? He was talking about nonchalance, the standard that they apply to them. He was PPS. Huh? And he reported a case of fatal road accident, having killed somebody, where he stated that he was not driving the car. Huh? He was then later on saying that his wife was driving the car. Then later on the wife came and said, no, we've been lying, and that it was Honourable Henry that was driving the car. They have lied to the police. Huh? And he remained as PPS. He stayed as PPS. And now you are talking about nonchalance? What nonchalance are you talking?
Again, the Honourable Prime Minister is misinformed. He's misinformed. Not only here, the then Prime Minister defended Honourable Henry, but I myself, with PPS Henry by my side, offered his resignation to the then Prime Minister, and he turned it down. So you should present your excuses.
Please, Honourable Perrault, order. Please, order on this side. Order.
The Prime Minister said I am lying. I would like him to. The former Prime Minister, he has to, because it happened in front of witnesses, he has to withdraw it.
Yes, Madam Speaker, what I'm saying is that he is not telling the truth. They never came to.
He has to withdraw and without any qualification. No qualification.
Honourable Minister Manto, did you use the word that he's lying? If you did, then you kindly withdraw and you rephrase it and say it otherwise.
I withdraw the word lying, but I maintain that he is not telling the truth.
No, please. Honorable Minister Mento, when a word is being withdrawn, it has to be withdrawn unreservedly. So would you please withdraw that word unreservedly and we'll restore order in the House so that the debate may continue, please.
Madam Speaker, I have already withdrawn. Shut up your bloody mouth.
Please, honourable members, I can't hear. Honourable members, please, order. I can't hear. Please, can we restore order in the House so that the questions can be asked? Please, I can't hear. Honourable Ratna, please, don't argue with me. Right? Honourable Minister Mento, I didn't hear because there's so much noise in the House that I didn't hear what you said. Please, and please be quiet on this side so that at least I may hear what is being said.
He has been calling me a liar. He will have to withdraw.
Did you, Honourable Leader of Opposition? It's childish, this debate.
Madam Speaker. He withdraws first, I will withdraw.
Order. Please, resume your seat. Let's proceed in order. Resume your seat. Let me give my ruling. Honourable Minister Mento, if you did say so as to restore order in the House, please withdraw. I'll ask the Leader of Opposition also to withdraw that word. The word liar is unparliamentary, please.
Well, I have already withdrawn, Madam Speaker. I withdraw it again.
Even he has withdrawn, I also withdraw.
Thank you so much. I think now we can restore order in the House. Please. You want to give, yes. Honourable Bhagwan, since you've got a PQ on this issue, yes. I'll allow you.
I was waiting my turn, Madam.
Yes.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, from what we have heard and witnessed in the House itself, we are here since the beginning of this government. We can state that the minister is a serial defaulter and an habitual absconder of ministerial responsibility. Can the Prime Minister reste tranquille de bouffon?
Please, don't. Who is making provocations on this side? Who is making? Please, honourable members, on this side of the House, please, honourable Bhagwan, please resume your seat. We've just restored order in the House. Honourable Sinatambu, please, don't make any provocations so that we can finish with the PNQ. Yes, Honourable Bhagwan.
Since now the public knows that the minister is a serial defaulter and habitual absconder of ministerial responsibility, and we all know the police. We are not new, we know how the police is run. They take instructions. Can the Prime Minister give assurance to the country, the nation, the public at large, there won't be any interference on his part or other responsible high-ranking minister from government in this particular case, so that we don't have to wait another encore out of this Mr. Sesungkur, so that to have him removed at the eve of general election?
Madam Speaker, the honourable member again is saying, although not giving any detail, but just making general allegations. But I can assure him and the House that there has never been any interference with regard to those cases. And obviously, I am a person who knows ethics, and who knows that... Yeah, well, to riez quand je m'en
Please reply to your question.
and of course, I never interfere into inquiries that are being conducted by the police.
Okay, Honorable Magan, you had other questions? Because, yes.
Can I the Honourable Minister, since we have just heard from the leader of the opposition, but there are threats which are given to the family and the close relative of that person who gave a statement in the police. Can the Prime Minister at least instruct that absconder, that minister, at least to stay quiet and not to run after the families, send people, send bouncers to the house of these poor people?
Well, again, these are allegations. You are saying that he sends bouncers. If he sends bouncers and you have evidence that he has been, you have information, you should make a declaration to the police, and the police will continue to inquire into that case. You can't simply come and make allegations. I can make allegations against any one member of the opposition as well. But when I do make with substance, with proof.
Honorable Shakil Mohammed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honourable Prime Minister has made a lot of hue and cry about the issues against the Honourable Minister Sesungkur being merely allegations and that he cannot act upon allegations, and there is the presumption of innocence under Section 10. In light of what the Honourable Prime Minister has said, presumption of innocence, only allegations, no finding of guilt, why is it therefore that he has asked 3 ministers from his government to resign? Honourable Sudan, there has been no finding of guilt against him, and the presumption of innocence should apply. Honourable Rubina Jadoo, no presumption of guilt, presumption of innocence should apply. I feel very queer, strange to say that. Honourable Dayal, there has been nothing, the presumption of guilt also should apply, innocence should apply for him. Why is it therefore that there are deux poids, deux mesures? 3 ministers asked to go, and presumption of innocence does not apply to them, but only to 1 minister. Is he afraid of the by-election that may happen?
You made your point, Honorable Shakil Mohammed. Yes.
I'm certainly not afraid of any by-election, and not afraid of you as well, by the way. But in those 3 cases that are being mentioned, they offered to step down in the meantime, while in cases inquiries ongoing. In another case, a case before the court is ongoing. So it is very, very different from here. What is being asked is to remove the minister, which is totally different.
Honorable Balu Moody. Yes, Honorable Xavier Duval.
Okay.
Got 2 more questions.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Prime Minister, Madam Speaker, is saying that the inquiries, the DPP hasn't taken a stand yet. But the inquiries since 3 years have been stalling, and unless and until it is completed and sent to the DPP, then the DPP will not be able to prosecute. Is the Prime Minister going to ask the Commissioner of Police to speed up inquiries so that this file may be sent to the DPP, or is he scared that the DPP might prosecute and he might have no other excuses than to revoke that minister?
Yes.
I'm not scared. What are you talking about? And certainly not of you as well. But the inquiry will take its course, and obviously it is being followed closely and being monitored by the Commissioner of Police. And when it is concluded, obviously it will be sent to the DPP for any action.
Honorable Ratna? No. Then Honorable Leader of Opposition.
The police and the ICAC appear to have been struck with paralysis. 3 years for one inquiry, 1 year at ICAC, etc. Can the Prime Minister confirm that the reason why the police and ICAC have been paralyzed because Honorable Sesungkur has been working with his lettre de démission as MP in his pocket and has been threatening you and everybody else with a by-election in number 10?
That is the biggest joke I have ever heard.
Next time.
There is, Madam Speaker, there is no paralysis. The institutions are working, inquiries are underway, and we'll see eventually at the conclusion of each inquiry what is going to be the decision that will be taken eventually by DPP. But certainly no one has been working on this side of the house, not only for Minister Sesungkur, anybody here has been working with letter of resignation. You are maybe having nostalgia when there was a former Minister of Finance who was working with letter of resignation when you were in government together with your good friend Dr. Navin Rambulam. Maybe you are having this nostalgia.
That's your last question.
Yes, but there were two questions, Madam.
Yes.
All in one. I must remind you of that. I'd like to ask the Honourable Prime Minister whether, since the situation is getting worse and worse, and given the very bad publicity that we've had, par coïncidence, maybe pas par coïncidence, concerning the financial services sector, Esamlag, with a very nasty report, CBN, we had to run to India to sort things out, whether he doesn't realize that this minister is not a fit and proper person, even if you look at Section 18 and 20 of the Financial Services Act. He's simply not a fit and proper person to be minister of good governance, where il aurait dû donner la bonne exemple et pas the worst example. Secondly, Minister of Financial Services, himself facing a case, civil case, and a police case for embezzlement. Our Minister of Good Governance and Financial Services being faced with two cases, one civil, one criminal, of embezzlement. Do you think it's not time for the reputation of our country and for the reputation of this government that he should remove the minister forthwith?
Madam Speaker, I've already replied with regard to the different allegations that have been made where inquiries are underway. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition mentions about Esamlag. Now, I can explain, I can say a lot of things about Esamlag, but I hope he will come with a specific question on Esamlag. He's making allegations that, yes, there is a report that this is this and that. Well, we know what happened, and we have taken a number of initiatives in order to deal with the review that is underway right now with regard to Mauritius. So I don't want to dwell lengthily, because I can also say, for example, views of other institutions, what they have been saying about the process and so on. So I hope he does come with a specific question, and then we will give all the required information so that the public will see. Don't come and just say, make allegation, Esamlag, this. I can mention a lot of things as well, but without giving information, substance to what is being alleged.